Dennis Hopper was was a big part of my youth. Through Easy Rider all the way up into Crash.
Sure.
What was it like working with Dennis?
Dennis Hopper is still in my mind and will always be, a legend in our industry. I loved him dearly. I miss him dearly. And be number 2 on the call sheet next to Dennis Hopper is probably one of my greatest and humblest moments. Like I would look at that and go, how in the fuck did I get here? This is great. I get to hug this guy every morning and say hi and, kind of go toe to toe with him, and it was a huge learning experience and something I will always remember. I'll forever take it with me and, God bless him.
It was almost as quick, not quite as quick, but almost as quick as Eazy-E, that when he came out and said, hey, I got AIDS, and then like a week later he was dead.
Yeah, man. But you've got to ask that question. How long have they known about it? And I think Dennis knew about it for quite some time and, was dealing with it in his own way. But yeah, that rapid downfall is heartbreaking. One moment you see him and the next you see him and they've lost, 30, 40 pounds. And it's like, it's heartbreaking. But he's in a wonderful place now. I'm sure he would be the first to admit that he's kind of glad he lasted this long. That guy's had an amazing life.
No, you're absolutely right.
Amazing career.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was a little disheartened to see that they, not disheartened as much as the show Crash was. I thought it was amazing that they didn't try. It was kind of a tribute that they didn't try to just keep it going, even though he wasn't a part of it.
Well, yes and no. I see what you're saying. I think Dennis was our he was our top boy, man. He was the captain, and I think yes, the show would have survived and we could have gone different avenues. But I just even remember getting that phone call from Glenn Mazzara, our first year showrunner, just saying Hopper signed on, and it was just like. It just made complete sense to us all that that he was going to be part of that show, and without him, of course we would have had entertainment, but it was, I don't know. No, it just seems like it was a Dennis show to me.
Listening to you talk about it, and after watching it, and after knowing, not knowing personally, but knowing Dennis Hopper over his career as a super fan.
Sure.
I was just sitting here thinking about all the...
He's a force.
Yeah.
This man is like, he's the real deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's literally a handful of people in this world, but also within the entertainment world, that, you can put on that pedestal, and Dennis was one of them, for sure.
Let's do Band of Brothers. It's coming up on the 10-year anniversary.
How about that? Yeah, it's one of those shows that is... that doesn't come by so often. I just heard a stat the other day. I don't know how true it is, but I heard it's the biggest selling DVD TV show in history.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me one iota that's probably understated.
Well, and what was interesting too is I remember when the show first came out, it was funny, you'd go around town and you had a certain group of people that would recognize you from the show and want to come over and talk about it. I think they threw it on again the following year, and then it was like a different, it just started growing. This audience started growing. It started off with kind of young males, and then the girls started getting involved and they started watching it. And then it was like, they were then buying these DVDs for their fathers and their grandfathers. So then that generation then became a part. It was incredible the way it grew and grew and grew. And I think it's now bigger than what it was when it first aired.
Well, and I have a whole bunch of questions from Ross Owens' Band of Brothers blog.
I've been talking with Ross. we're on opposing sides. We have opposing football teams that we both support.
Yeah, because I know that you're a big fan of the Celtic squad, and he's a big fan of the Glasgow Sissies. Is that it?
That is Glasgow Sissies. Let's go with that and stick with that.
I'm sure he's biting his tongue and going, "Oh my God, what is the matter with him?" All right, but anyways, the questions that he's been sent.
Yes.
Mary from New York City asks, I know you have had no contact with the Liebgott family prior to filming, but I wonder if you've had contact with the family since.
The quick answer to that is no. There is a longer answer. When we were shooting the show, we couldn't find the Liebgotts. Actually, nobody really knew what happened to Joe at the point of shooting. Towards the end of the series, we then found out when he died and what family members were still in America. And through various websites and bits and pieces, I have since found out that there are Liebgott family members. Now, the unfortunate thing is you don't know how legitimate that is.
Right.
When it's coming through a forum. And so I haven't had any contact or liaisons with any of the family, although I'd love to. I mean, we just need to make sure that it was a legitimate thing. He was a big part of my life, Joe Liebgott,
Well, absolutely. And that kind of leads us into our next question. Graham Marshall from Scotland asks, was Liebgott really Jewish? I'm sure I read somewhere that he used to let people believe he was because of his Jewish-sounding name, but in reality, he wasn't.
There was a rumor that I heard that he was a Catholic man, but no, I think the truth of the matter was yes, he was Jewish.
All right, very cool. Now, one of the guys in the chat room, Mo, has asked that he has heard that you're working with Band of Brothers castmate Frank John Hughes, and what are you working on, and how is that going?
He's right. Frank and I, I was listening to your guys, I listened to part of the interview you guys did with Jimmy last week, Jimmy Mario, and
right.
And what was great was, him talking about who's still in contact with who and who hangs out with who. And there's kind of like, we see everybody and, the house is always open to any of our boys. But, there is like a core group of us, maybe 5, 6, or 7 of us that see each other on a relatively regular basis. And Frank and I actually write together. And we sold a TV show, a pilot, last year. Which is now out to network. So without getting into the, there's a lot of steps you have to take to get a TV show on the air, and we're kind of at the last one now. So it's moving forward, and hopefully we'll have something, for these guys to see. And
this gives us yet another excuse,
right,
to talk to you.
This would be fantastic to talk about when we get your pilot sold. But why is there so many steps, and why do so many people say yes to so much crap?
Well, I think it's down to what sells, man. What people are used to. What viewing figures come into things, genres come into things, star power comes into things. With us, it's we've already sold it. So now it's just finding its home. That's all it is. But you have to. Take a project and you have to get producers on board, and once you have producers on board, then you have to go to a studio, and once the studio's on board, then you have to go to networks, and once the network's on board, then you have to cast it, and then once you've cast it, you then got to shoot it, and then once you've shot it, then they decide whether or not they're going to go ahead and and so it's an ongoing process. But yes, there's a lot of crap on air. Who knows, man? Who knows how it gets on there?
This project that you're working on now, is this like a passion project, or is this like what would be really fun? Tell us a little about that.
Well, here's the thing. I, as well as acting, I write as well, and Frank does too. And in fact, Frank is a phenomenal writer. And we've been best pals for 10 years. We're really good pals. He's helped me. You know who your true friends are, the ones that come and actually help you move house.
Yes.
And so Frank and I had been wanting to. We were fans of each other's writing, and we wanted to do something together. Just wanted to do a project. We found something and got very excited, and in a very kind of quick turnaround, hugely excited. I can't think of anything better than going to work with my pals.